Hello?
Hey, Brian, it's Joe Plummer.
Yeah, Joe, what's up?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Tour Story, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm getting to the point where I'm going to have to change my number at this
Come
point,
on.
I guess. I thought you had your own band and your own stuff going on, and you just keep killing me with this. So if you can, please just stop.
Sorry to bother you, man.
Yeah, sorry to bother me. Should have happened like 11 phone calls ago, Joe.
Fuck. All right, I'm sorry.
All right, you have a good night.
Yeah, thanks.
So we've all been pulled over by the cops, but have you ever been added to the FBI's most wanted list? Brian Teasley from Man or Astroman and the Polyphonic Spree has.
From Ruinous Media, this is Tour Stories.
Hi, this is the voice of Brian Teasley. I've been a music journalist over the years, as well as a musician for bands like St. Vincent, Man or Astroman, and the Polyphonic Spree, which is where the story begins. I live in Birmingham, Alabama, and the Polyphonic Spree is a 26-piece band from Dallas, Texas. So obviously, to make that work, I was flying back and forth a lot between Birmingham and Dallas, and I'd been out in Texas, and we had just taped a performance on Austin City Limits. Now, I was going back home, and I was going to do some recording, and I borrowed a microphone from a friend of mine, Seth Lozier, who had a microphone from a gentleman in the band who makes these microphones called copperphones. Now, I will describe what a copperphone looks like. It is a copper tube about 6 inches long, and then has two larger copper end caps on it that look like they've been screwed on. And one side has a diaphragm to sing or talk into. The other side has a XLR jack to plug a cable into. It's a weird, vintage, strange-looking thing. And I had put it in my suitcase, had wrapped it up in my Polyphonic Spree robe. The band wore choir robes. And forgotten about it, flew back to Birmingham and was waiting on my luggage when I landed at the carousel, and nothing showed up. So I filed a lost baggage claim. Then I did what every red-blooded American would do at that point, and I went to Taco Bell. And I remember having a big dilemma on sauce preference that day. Got back, my car had been in the backyard for 2 weeks while I was gone. It had bird shit all over it. So I grabbed the water hose and was spraying off bird shit on my car when this rather tall, intimidating gentleman, full suit and very David Duchovny-esque, of course, comes up and says, "Hey, are you Brian Teasley?" And I strangely was like, yes. And he leaned over at that moment into his jacket collar and said, We got it. And at that point, SUVs, like black SUVs, started coming from anywhere and everywhere, blocking my driveway, blocking the alleyway, and all these agents were running out. And they said, "Brian Teasley, you are being held for a suspicious device found in
commotion one microphone could cause. But Brian Teasley is now rethinking what he takes on a plane next time. His mic briefly shut down the Dallas-Fort Worth airport on Thursday.
I had totally forgotten about this microphone, right? And mind you, this is 2004, right when Guantanamo Bay and waterboarding and all that stuff was very in the moment. So I thought somebody had planted something in my suitcase, and I was going bye-bye for a very long time and no telling what was going to happen to me. So they start ransacking through my house, searching for stuff, and I couldn't, for the life of me, think what I could have done. I was really racking my brain. And then I figured out, I was focusing on the word device, and I remembered that I had put that microphone, the copper phone, in my suitcase. Strangely enough, the band had just played on that TV show, the Craig Kilborn Show, and Tim, our singer, was singing through that copper phone microphone during the performance. So I told the agent, I said, "Look, I know this sounds utterly inane and crazy, and you probably don't trust me, but if you go search on my TiVo and find the Craig Kilborn Show, you will see the band I play in using that microphone."
Hold up. TiVo? Imagine Brian Teasley, flanked by FBI agents, holding a bag of Taco Bell, trying to prove his innocence by watching the Craig Kilborn show?
Sure enough, through all this rigmarole, because they probably thought a bomb was going to go off or something, they got to the Craig Kilborn show and saw the microphone and identified the device. And you have to think, before this, they thought it was a pipe bomb wrapped in a red religious robe, and I was going to blow up the Dallas airport. It was at this moment that he alerted me that I had been on the FBI's most wanted list, that I had shut down the Dallas airport. And actually, a friend of mine had, his mom was there and said people were running out and some people were crying, which I shouldn't say, but it kind of made me a little happy. Just thinking people are so scared of like nothing, that I cause all this hubbub. That's awful. I'm sorry. Anyway, it was all over the national news at that point, which I was like, great. Half the world thinks I'm a terrorist. But that was indeed the day I became a rock and roll terrorist.
Thanks to Brian Teasley for his tour story. Here's a preview of our next episode with Dale Crover from the Melvins.
You know, when I walked back to the car and I saw all that stuff on the hood, I'm like, he might have had that gun, but I know that he didn't have all that cocaine.